folks. I'm going to take this time out to talk about something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about an emerging social trend that's been going on for quite a while, and it's something that really fascinates me. I'm fascinated by all these new wave media movements just in general because I'm curious, because at heart I'm a sociologist. I love to know about cultures, what people find interesting about the world around them, and basically how they feel about being a member of a social system, being that inhabitant of the human race. And I think YouTube is a great microcosm because there are so many really unusual or unorthodox fringe communities, which I think is aberrational as they may be. They also kind of tell some grand truths about the current social environment we all live in as members of the internet in America. And I'm driving right now, and there's this guy in front of me who I'm pretty sure is drunk. He's driving all over the place. So should I read his license plate? No, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, from 75 right now, get off of it. But yeah, so anyway, this trend is something that I first heard about quite a while ago. My roommate actually showed me a video, and at first I thought it was a joke because it just seemed so hard to fathom. It was just this thing that was so bizarre, something I had no real experience with because I never would have thought of it in a million years. And it was this thing called ASMR. And if you're not in the loop, ASMR stands for audio. Actually, I don't know what it stands for off the top of my head. I think it stands for audio squirrel monkey relapse, something like that. But anyway, he showed me this, and I was just really sort of taken aback because I never would have put those two things together. That there are people whose voices, when they say things at certain intonations, particularly when they're whispering, that it causes some actual neurological connection to happen, which creates basically this total sensory experience where it makes the hair on the back of their neck stand up. It puts them at ease. It triggers something in their brain. It triggers some sort of mental mechanism that I'm not really sure I understand. And that's just really intriguing to me because, I don't know, I'm really into propaganda techniques, and I'm into people using neurological ways to manipulate others. It's a hobby of mine. I'm writing a book about it, actually. I'm not trying to do it personally. I just think it's a really interesting part of 20th century history. So when I saw this, I was really intrigued the fact that you have people that are trying to obtain this actual audio sensory jolt from a telecommunications platform. So that in and of itself, I think, is just extremely interesting because we have a lot of machine-assisted communication interaction, but it's kind of filtered. The machine is the barrier. And with the ASMR videos, basically what's happening is the media is kind of transcending its static nature on the web and actually producing a real stimulus for other people, which I think is really interesting from a neurological and sociological standpoint both ways. So that's why I'm kind of became invested in it recently. So why are these videos popular? Basically, when I went into it, when I first started doing my own research on it and studying, my general thought was it's popular primarily for the same reason anything on the internet is popular. It's because there's some sort of perverted angle to it. And if you look at a lot of the ASMR or AMSR, I'm jumbling up the letters in a moment. When you look at the bulk of the videos, they all seem to be kind of the same. They involve women, usually fairly attractive women, and it's close-ups of their faces, or their lips, or their mouths, or whatever. And basically what they do is they just kind of whisper or say things, or they play with objects, they rattle potato chip bags, they play with feathers, they're clicking pins. They do all these things which somehow vis-a-vis create some sort of audio neurological sensation for the viewer. And, like I said earlier, I thought at first it had to have been driven by some sort of really latent, at least, sexual angle. But the more I went into these videos, I realized just how incredibly innocuous most of them are. I mean, okay, granted, they're females, and you got a close-up of their mouths, and they're talking about some things that may be considered sexual. But overall, I mean, there's not really like a true pornographic element to it. I mean, it's just people talking about things and doing things that are very rudimentary with the sole ambition of trying to provoke a certain audio reflex stimulus out of people. And, you know, the videos are all kind of the same way. I know exactly why they're made. It's because, you know, these are people who, you know, really just kind of get some sort of sense of mutual social satisfaction out of it. The fact that people are giving them attention. They're becoming basically YouTube celebrities because they're just, you know, talking in front of a camera and doing stuff and playing with things, scratching their nails on tables, and that's in a lot of hits. So it's giving them a sense of a social importance, a sense of cultural significance. And of course, I'll play to it. You know, they like being this object of worship. So if you ever watch the ASMR videos, or the channels dedicated solely to that, the people who run them, male or female, they kind of do it in this really sort of bizarre, like, entertainment, like, presentation kind of format. Like, you know, they're kind of, I don't know how to really explain it. It's almost like they're kind of like running a show, like it's a TV show and they're the host and they're doing this. So to me, that's just kind of really entertaining. They're kind of making it a literal product by doing what they're doing. So I know that's exactly why they're making the videos. But pray tell, why do people actually watch these videos? And like I said, you know, earlier, I thought there was that sexual component. But, you know, the more I think about it, I realize, you know, these people really, when you're watching the videos, I mean, yeah, you might be getting some sort of neurological thrill, some sort of physiological satisfaction, perhaps with more prurient intent when you're watching the videos, if you're into that kind of thing. But I think more than anything, just watching these videos over and over again, what they really sort of demonstrate to me is, you know, you look at people today, we live such incredibly insulated lives. You know, if you work, you know, you're at a computer terminal 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. Pretty much all the human interaction you have is sort of filtered through sort of a telecommunications lens. You're not really having human direct contact anymore. If you go to school and certainly kind of fall in the same category, it's become more like the work environment because you actually are having less direct human interaction. It's all through email, it's through social media, it's through Skype, it's through all these applications. And I think just in our lives in general, we're spending so much time in front of a screen, even when we're out with other people. You know, we're on our phones, we're on our tablets. We're actually kind of losing the appeal of face-to-face human interaction. And I think a lot of kids, especially some of the younger ones nowadays, they've kind of grown up in this very insulated shell where, you know, they're really not getting sort of the same, even rudimentary social experiences that people used to get back in the day. And there's one channel in particular I saw where it's this young woman who's basically kind of doing like these first-person perspective videos of things that are just so incredibly mundane. Like she's a waitress and she's taking the viewer's order, and there's another one where she's like just like giving someone like a shave. I mean, there's nothing at all sexual about it. In fact, it's just very almost like infantile in a way. It's almost like she's talking to a baby. There's this really bizarre sort of juvenile immaturity to it. But then all of a sudden kind of dawned on me what this is. It's because we're not really having connections with people anymore. That's what the whole AMSR thing is all about. It's about getting that interpersonal jolt that we're not getting in real life. And I think it kind of speaks to our inherent loneliness, our desperate need for human contact. That we're sitting there and living vicariously through these very close, intimate, however completely virtual and pseudo-social interactions, where we're just pretending to be close with people. That we're going on dinner dates with them, or we're just letting them talk about their hair and all these other things. And in fact, the matter is, I think we've gotten to a point just collectively in our post-World Wide Web existence that we really are kind of in danger of losing some of that interaction. Everything, like I said before, is done through the filtration of a computer screen or some mobile application. That we're kind of missing what it's like to actually have a real conversation with someone. And we're not really having that many intimate relationships. I remember reading a report that said the average American now has less than 6 truly close acquaintances. And I think for the younger kids growing up today, it's probably even less than that because all their friends are online. They're disembodied. They don't actually live next door. They're Xbox Live pals that play, you know, a dozen states away. they're on forums. They're not really people. I mean, they may Skype and talk and all that stuff, but they're not actually there with them on a daily basis. They're not, these mutual bonds formed by a communal coexistence, except a virtual interest that they share through some sort of online mediation tool. But yeah, I think ultimately that's pretty much why ASMR videos are so popular. It's because people desperately want to feel a sort of intimacy. They want to feel a closeness with someone or something. And even if it is just by getting some sort of vicarious 3-second jolt from someone's accent or their whisper or them rubbing their hands on a pillow that's fluffy, you know what, I think kind of speaks to a larger issue that we're having. And that is, as a culture, we're kind of losing our sense of humanity. We're losing our sense of cultural cohesion, and we're losing our sense of social interaction. So maybe we shouldn't be looking at these ASMR or AMSR videos individually and looking at them as things that exist solely within themselves as some phenomenon, but maybe we should actually see them as perhaps a symptom of something even more important, something a little bit greater that's going on with our collective culture, and that's the fact that we're just not talking to each other anymore.